Good morning. Hi, class. Happy Easter to you. It's a beautiful Easter morning. I'm kind of up early today because I'm doing a Zoom get together with some friends out of town, and going to do that in a little while. So I'm going to get a couple of lessons in as well this morning. I hope you have a wonderful Easter with your family, and perhaps have an opportunity to connect with your extended family as well today. I look forward to a little visit on my sister's back porch this afternoon, 12 feet apart, but a nice opportunity to go over to her house in Roswell and visit for just a little while. So first lesson we're going to do today is our vocabulary lesson. We have been doing confusing word pairs, and we're going to take a break from that. We're going to move to a different form of figurative language that we Americans use a great deal of the time, and that can be pretty confusing for second language learners. Both to understand when we hear it, and then also can be a little frightening to actually attempt to use this indirect language that I'm going to discuss, because we are afraid of doing it incorrectly. So this form of indirect speech, these are called euphemisms. I'm sure that you are familiar and have studied euphemisms, but now that you are actively living and socializing among Americans, all of these things become a little more real to you, and you hear them, or you want to be able to use euphemisms with comfort. Euphemisms, or indirect speech, are ways that oftentimes we Americans try to be clever, a little funny, cute, whatever you might want to say. And also, we tend to use them to soften our words a bit. If a topic is uncomfortable, a little bit difficult, we might use euphemisms to approach that difficult topic. We also use the word sensitive to talk about things. Some topics are sensitive, they're very personal, or they're very sad. And so we will use euphemisms to in our conversation, so that we don't have to be so direct. I have told you in the past, I think it's a way earlier classes, that we Americans, especially those of us who were born and raised in the South part of the United States, tend to be very sensitive about wanting to not hurt other people's feelings. We want to say things in a nice way instead of being direct. If you go north or to the northeast, or possibly even in the west, you might hear people being a little more direct in their manner of speech, saying exactly what they want, or telling you exactly how they feel. In the South, we soften it a little bit. We say we put honey on a lot of our words to make them sweeter, kinder. So whether you choose to be direct or indirect is a personal choice. I have no problems personally with people who are direct, as long as they are kind. I think being direct and being harsh, unkind, is not a very thoughtful thing. But being direct is okay, and sometimes being direct is the thing to do. We sometimes need to be very honest and clear. When we don't want to be quite so direct, we use a euphemism, excuse me. That is a hard word for me to say, so I'm sure it's hard for you. Euphemism. So I think I'm going to start with a more difficult topic for us, and that is the topic of death. Not something that makes us feel particularly comfortable, and certainly not happy. We've heard way more of that lately than we wish. With the topic of death, Americans will tend to approach that often in a softer tone of speaking. So you might hear someone say that a person has died, instead of saying that when a person has died, instead of saying that they died, we might say that they passed away. Some other versions of that might be that they are no longer with us. That's a euphemism, no longer with us. That they have passed over to the other side. That they have departed this earth. So instead of so-and-so died, they have departed this earth or departed this life. Those are some softer ways that we might say death. There's also a few humorous ways that we might talk about death. If you're wanting to be funny, we might say someone gave up the ghost. Gave up the ghost. That includes a phrasal verb. A lot of these do. Okay? Gave up. And ghost being, the idea of the spirit of the body. Another one that is humorous that people use to describe death is kick the bucket. If you can envision a bucket of water or anything inside the bucket is full. When you kick the bucket, it all is dumped out, gone. So that is a humorous way that you might hear someone refer to death. So you see, euphemisms can go both ways, towards being very sensitive or towards trying to be funny. It would be interesting for you to look at sympathy cards at the grocery store or wherever that you buy your cards, and look at some of the messages on the sympathy cards. Those messages might help you to form ideas about ways that Americans might talk about death. Sympathy cards, will sometimes use the word death, thinking about you and the death of your mother or your friend. But more often, those sympathy cards will say, thinking of you in this difficult time, thinking of you in your sadness or in your time of sadness. Those are the kinds of ways that you will see the language of death softened a little bit in cards or in speech. Another topic that for some people can be sensitive is the topic of alcohol consumption because there is a great deal of focus in our society on the abuse of alcohol, on people who are alcoholics, and the concern about the health and well-being of those people and their family members, and drunk driving, and some of those kinds of things that are a negative outcome of alcohol, consuming too much alcohol. So a lot of times people will avoid, saying, I like to drink alcohol, or, I'm going to go have some alcohol with my friend tonight at the bar. You might hear people saying instead, I'm going to go have adult beverages. Adult beverages, instead of saying, I'm going to go have alcohol. I had too many adult beverages, someone might say, instead of I had too much alcohol. You might also simply hear people say, I drank too much. And when they say that, they're not referring to water, or, to soda. That they're referring to alcohol without using the word alcohol. That might seem kind of strange because it's depending on your background and culture, it's not a big deal. But here you might hear that or see that on a sign. We serve adult beverages. So I want you to know about that one. Obviously, there are certain humorous types of euphemisms that have to do with drinking too much alcohol, behaving. Excuse me, I can't find my paper right now. Behaving in a way that shows that someone has had too much. One of those would be to get wasted. Get wasted. Waste, W-A-S-T-E, as in trash. So I got trashed. But we say someone got wasted last night. Another one that is, and that's to be humorous usually, another one that is in the humorous, and I'll write this one out because it's